Hey, how you doing? Honor play for this week. Is Elden RIng Shadow the Erdtree too hard? Hmm. Could Black Myth Wukong be the Elden Ring for character action games fans? We'll see. Was Nintendo's Direct a winner post Summer Game Fest? Double A and indie devs say it's not worth putting games on Xbox if it's not on Game Pass. All of this and more on Season 8, Episode 25 of Press X to Start Gamers Digest. What's up, everyone? I'm your host, DJ, aka Sexy Bad Choices, aka Boss from Far Cry 3 has got me pretty high, but we still managed to beat him. I'll talk about more of that later. I am joined by.
Sean MF Ross.
What does the M and F stand for?
Mr. Fett don't like to get wet.
Ah! Oh, man. Now you know who we are. Press X Star Gamers Digest is a video podcasting against the most important gaming news from this past week into an hour-long meal just for you. Pointing to you, sir, ma'am, they, them, whoever. Thank you for listening. Where was I at? We are live on YouTube every Sunday when we can make it because life is hard.
But listening to us is easy.
Yes, it is. Don't forget to support us by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell. If you are listening, we would greatly appreciate you leaving us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or the podcast service you are currently tuned in on. Do it. If you want, you can join our conversations by joining our Discord at pressx2start.com/Discord. Yes. All right. With that being said, I think we can jump into this big old week of gaming news. Number one. Which three devs congratulates FromSoftware after Elden Ring DLC of the Erdtree overtakes Blood and Wine as best reviewed expansion ever? This comes to us from IGN by way of. Wait. I almost said by way of IGN. This comes to us from IGN by way of Wesley Yingpool. Actually, let me do a little quick little check right quick. Let me just check something right quick. I am wanting to make sure. Yes, it works. Okay, cool. All right. So yes, as the title suggests, the Witcher 3's DLC Blood and Wine was the highest reviewed DLC of this modern gaming era. And not Bloodborne. Jeez, Bloodborne's on mine for some strange reason.
Elden Ring.
Elden RIng Shadow of the Erdtree has overtaken their
their
top score.
Yeah, if you create a whole separate game and then call it DLC, like
right.
It says a 25 to 30 hour thing. Like, come on, 20 to 25 hour camp.
Yeah, it's a weird thing of this is going to be the rock block of Elden Ring that we're going to talk about because it is out and it's a big thing, and of course, anytime Elden Ring is brought up, everyone flocks to it because.
Did you platinum it?
No.
Oh,
I beat that game. I said,
every platinum it.
Yeah, no, props to him. I beat that. My time with Elden Ring was very much so like, I don't understand this game until I understood you don't respect this game, you disrespect this game. So whatever you need to do to get ahead, you take that and then you just carry it forward. Like there's because one of the things, okay, it's not a spoiler. I mean, it's not really a spoiler because Elden Ring is so old. One of the summons you can get in the game is called a mimic tier, and that will essentially copy your character. So at a certain point, I was buffing myself and then copying that buffed character and then just double teaming whoever got my way. It was just like, hey, man.
Jumping things.
Exactly.
Fight back.
Exactly. I mean, there's people like Let Me Solo Her who, try to make the game extremely hard for themselves just to overcome the challenge or whatever. And it's like,
I think they retired now. Cool. They have a new person called Let Me Comic Them or something like that.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. And I respect that, you want to play the game that way. And, people were flocking to that person because they were beating the hardest boss with like crazy things that, that's cool. But yeah, so yes, Witcher 3's expansion Blood and Wine was currently sitting at is currently sitting at 92
Mm.
on Metacritic. Elder Shadow of the Erdtree is sitting at a 95 on Metacritic. It's sitting at 95 or 94 on OpenCritic. But yeah, this is really, really high remarks for Elden Ring's DLC slash expansion thing that they have going on. I mean, props to them. I think
Yeah.
the conversation is going to be: does the gaming media prop this up in the Game of the Year conversation? I don't think it should.
They should have a separate thing for DLCs because this just ain't fair.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be
I think
damned
it
if
could.
they overtake Infinite Wealth
All right, yeah,
this
right.
goddamn year.
RPG.
Damn it.
But like, it's one of the things where it's like they could probably throw it into like best ongoing game, but I don't even think that really fits this too much. And I also
They need
think
to have a
that's not
best
gonna take that.
DLC thing
Yeah,
for Game
yeah,
Awards and
yeah,
whoever else.
yeah, yeah. So it's gonna be an interesting conversation. We'll see. But yes, that is that. Number two, we're staying on the Elden Ring train. Actually, you know what? I was supposed to play this little video that they got going on for the trailer, and I didn't even bother doing that. I was
Mhm.
too busy talking. Too busy talking. Yes, number two, Elden Ring Shadow the Erdtree debuts to mixed Steam reactions. The base game never felt this ridiculously difficult. So this goes to us from GamesRadar by Con Surin. There's performance woes. Performance woes are also contributing to a divisive reception. So
Mhm.
essentially, this game is friggin' hard with a caveat. Um, yeah. So this game is hard because the leveling up system is different, and I feel like they as in from software made it clear that there's a different way of leveling in this DLC content versus the normal Elden Ring style of like leveling up through runes. I don't know, but yes, I've heard from a lot of sources that
Yeah.
this DLC is hard, and this DLC is like you take your level whatever character, and
Well,
you're still getting
they
pieced up.
said it was gonna be different, so you can't take
Yeah,
your level. Even Avery said he had a level 170 something character and he was getting two
yeah,
shotted by bosses. So
yeah.
treat this
Which
game
is
like a
which is
bitch if you want to.
yeah. So it basically they found a way of restarting that character level progression
Mhm.
and essentially jumping into this game like a level 0 character, which I don't know how I feel about that personally, but I feel like that's pretty on brand for from software dealing
Well, I
with
mean,
these
they don't
Souls
want people
games.
who just sat there over leveled and did new game plus
Just
10
roll through
times
it.
and just steamrolling the shit and be like, this is
Yeah,
easy. This was nothing. Like,
right.
yeah,
Which
I
makes sense.
applaud
Which
them. I applaud them for taking this approach to it.
Yeah. So okay. So I'm just gonna read from the article. On Steam, Elden Ring Shadow the Erdtree currently sits at a mixed rating based on over 12,000 user reviews as of the time of writing. This means 38% of PC players walked away from the Lands of Shadow with a negative reaction, a far cry from the base game's glowing 93% positive reception based off a whopping 627,000 reviews. So it is to note that these reviews are essentially day one,
Mhm.
and you know this is a this is a Souls game. So those those that initial reaction, this initial reception is definitely going to change by the time these people are actually done with the game. So it's one of the things where it's like right now it's sitting at a mixed rating because I think a lot of people are just upset that their cool character that they built spending 100 plus hours in Elden Ring is getting washed in this DLC. And it's just like, there's a part of that that doesn't feel fair, and I totally understand that. Like
You're just
my
learning that
character
you're
is
not the main
100.
character.
Yeah, essentially, like you're you're basically coming into this DLC with like this cool character that you had that's basically just shadow dressing. Like it doesn't make a difference. Like you could do
Mm,
whatever and you're still gonna get washed because of just you're just level one at this game or this DLC. But yeah, like my main character is 179, I guess level 179. And like I was going back and forth about do I just get this DLC? Do I just wait? And I think I'm going to wait a little bit and see how this all plays out. I don't think From Software is going to budge at this. I think they're going to be like, "It. This is what it is. Like, this is how we've always been," kind of thing. So we'll see. Because like, there's a couple of games that I have lined up that's going to
mm.
happen not next week, but the week after. Um. So yeah, I mean, there's not too much to say about this other than these people are upset, and I get it. I get it. I'd be upset too, but I'm not really a Souls player, so everything kind of upsets me about this game.
Bruh.
uh, yeah. So number three, just to end off the Elden Ring talk, From Software boss addresses gaming industry layoffs. As long as this company's my responsibility, I will not let that happen. This comes from PC Gamer by way of ooh, West. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did I pull up the wrong thing? No. I didn't. I
Um,
didn't. I was right. I was right. By West Fenlong.
Finland.
Yes. So Miyazaki describes From Software relationship with parent company mm, Kado- Kadokawa and references Satoru Itawa's perspective on layoffs. So essentially, this goes to say that they they as in Miyazaki wants to keep the company together because if you keep the company together, they are able to grow off each other and build off each other and continue making these masterclass in struggle games. So yeah, that makes total sense. Like that the problem with the industry is that there is not enough betting, not enough long-term betting happening. So a lot of these companies are betting in the short term, stuff don't go well, and then they just lay off people. And it's like when you lay off that portion of your studio now is set back and they have to add more people to the studio, build that relationship up again, and then build that work experience up again. Where we have From Software who I don't remember the last time they've even had like layoffs to really talk about.
Yeah.
Like this studio is just growing and building off of each other, building off of these relationships and creating these games. And like that's sort of what you need to do. Like to be said, I think really and truly the only other publisher that really kind of has this mentality is Sony in a way. In that like you have Naughty Dog, you have Insomniac, Sucker Punch,
What do you mean as
I
far as
wanna
laying off
say.
people?
Yeah, like they don't really have any massive layoffs for those devs.
Okay, for those specific.
For
Yeah,
those specific devs. Yeah, yeah. Because like those are like
I'd say Nintendo as a whole.
yes, yeah, you're right, Nintendo. Although Nintendo is weird in terms of them being a publisher, but not really
Publisher and dev.
well, I mean that's what they are, but they don't really focus on like the developers as a studio other than like they're just all under Nintendo, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah, because
no,
like
that makes sense.
yeah, it's like yeah, whatever. But yeah, so yeah, this is cool. Like I absolutely praise Miyazaki for like having this mentality and just understanding the importance of keeping your developers around and having them be in these same teams for years. It just makes sense. If only Embracer would you know, understand that. Although
Mm.
they're in a different sort of hot water. But we're not talking about them. Number 4, Black Myth Wukong hands-on preview. Easily among the best and best looking action RPG I've played in years. This comes to us from GamesRadar by way of Austin Wood. Before I jump into this, are you excited at all for Black Myth Wukong?
Yes, now I am. Now that they said it's not going to be a Souls like, I don't feel like
Yeah.
struggling. I don't want to role play the victim.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I was also incredibly happy with this news that Black Myth Wukong is not a Souls like.
Like I was excited when they first revealed it years back, and
Mhm.
then it looked like it was going to be a Souls like, and my excitement kind of tempered, it kind of waned, and it's back up there now. So
Yeah,
I'll be getting this.
for sure. Yeah, I am definitely like on the hype train for this game. Like I think when we first saw the preview for this, I was under the impression like there's no way this game is going to look this way by the time it comes out. Like this is obviously like a hype trailer kind of thing. And hey man, they have been keeping on the same train of like, nah, this is what our game looks like. It will look like this from start to finish. And so
Yeah,
far in the previews, it's been looking so strong. Like there is I think we showed it last week. There is a scene that the main character is fighting like this giant bear,
yeah.
and the bear does like fire attacks, and then like main character hit the bear with fire attacks, and the bear like catches on fire. And I don't think I have personally seen fire look that good on a character that is attacking you, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Like it just looks amazing. But yeah, so this preview is essentially just kind of reaffirming all that. They they talk about how in the preview it seemed like a boss rush kind of thing where you're just fighting a lot of like bosses back to back. The devs did confirm that like no, there is going to be more open world elements. There's going to be like NPC side quests and exploration happening in the game. It's kind
You
of
know,
weird that
I wonder how
but
long they took to build this game, because
yeah,
if you remember, this was teased back in 2020, and they were looking for help to finish developing the game. And it started on Unreal Engine 4. They switched to
yeah,
Unreal 5.
that's a great question. Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't even. I imagine this has been because even at that time when they first showed it, it
Hmm.
was a good a a pretty lengthy video. I think it was
And
like
that shit looked
5
amazing.
minutes. Yeah, and it looked
Yeah.
really good. So I think at that point it probably was like maybe 3 years of work, probably longer because they were a smaller studio.
Hmm.
But yeah, man, it's looking pretty good. What happened? Oh, so the the other side to this whole thing is that Black Myth Wukong is essentially coming to PlayStation in a way first because it is being delayed on Xbox Series S/X. The devs had given the reason of because they need to optimize this game to work on Xbox Series platforms. So there's
Good for
a
Microsoft for
another
making shit hard on themselves.
yeah. So the idea of Microsoft wants these games to work everywhere is somewhat hamstringing, certain devs in terms of getting these games to scale down, scale up
Hmm.
reasonably without issue. So there's actually been some controversy behind that. So this comes to us from Windows Central. Highly anticipated Black Myth Wukong is delayed on Xbox for optimization, and now Microsoft has responded. So this comes to us by way of Jez Corden.
Mm.
So what is being said here is that the devs put out a quote saying that we are currently optimizing the Xbox Series X/X version to meet our quality standards. Game Science, named the devs, said so it won't release simultaneously with the other platforms. We apologize for the delay and aim to minimize the wait for Xbox users. We will announce the release date as soon as it meets our quality standards. So everybody took that and was like, "Oh wow, this is sort of you know throwing dirt at Xbox, not throwing dirt in a direct way, but like,
Yeah.
you know, optimizing these games for Xbox Series X, Series S is an issue. We're seeing that." And then Microsoft came back with a response, and their response was a little different. Oh my god, this site is not okay. Their response was pretty different from what Game Science said. In that, what these ads are so annoying. All right, they said that we're excited for the launch of Black Myth Wukong on Xbox Series X/S and are working with Game Science to bring the game to our platforms. We cannot comment on the deals made by our partners with our platform holders, but we remain focused on making Xbox the best platform for gamers, and great games are at the center of that. So, this quote is different in that Xbox is talking about deals made with our partners with other platform holders. And people are suggesting that, oh, Black Myth Wukong might be coming late to Xbox because of possibly an exclusivity deal with PlayStation.
Yeah.
So this created all this controversy, and then of course Black Myth Wukong devs, they're not. I think Jazz Corden reached out to them to get clarification. They haven't clarified yet, but this is a weird thing in that I don't know if this is the first time we've had devs say like, "Oh, the game's not coming to other platforms because of optimization reasons," and then
Well, they
the
didn't say it's not coming, just we're working on it. I
well, yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah, it's
it's
being delayed
more
because of
so odd that Microsoft commented on it at all, if anything.
yeah, right, right, and they're saying this because I think it's just a confusing thing because right now like Microsoft is kind of in somewhat hot water in terms of Game Pass, somewhat hot water in terms of these games coming to their platform. There's going to be another game we talk about in Nintendo Direct that was shown that's also not coming to Xbox, blah blah blah. But it is a thing of this is sort of a recurring thing that we're starting to see, and I think Microsoft coming out and speaking on this is sort of showing that like they are kind of being kind of frustrated about this.
Yeah.
The thing is like I don't know if I buy the PlayStation exclusivity deal on
Yeah.
that just because I don't remember really seeing Black Myth Wukong being like a PlayStation thing.
I assumed it was gonna
Was it?
come to PC and PS5 when it was announced. When it was first
Okay,
announced.
so there what so was it
I
like Black Myth
think.
Wukong and then a PlayStation thing after it?
Let me see. Black Myth.
I mean, I could be wrong and just like not remembering. But yeah,
Yeah,
if
I'd have to find it.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, as it is right now, a lot of this is just speculation. So we don't know exactly what is the cause of this. Is it really just an optimization thing? Which kind of makes sense. We're gonna talk about something like that later on. But right now we are just in a wait and see pattern.
mhm.
Yeah. Um yes. So before we jump into what was announced at the Nintendo's Direct, hey, you listener, viewer, do us a favor. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. If you are listening, please leave us a review on the podcast service you're currently using. Period. Do that. Thanks. And if you want, you can join the conversations by joining our Discord at pressxandreducer.com/Discord. We have fun there. You can have fun with us. Join us. Join us. All right. Number 5. Nintendo Directs June 2024. Everything announced from IGN by way of. Wait, it's loading. It's loading. It's loading. By way of. Did you watch this Direct by chance?
I watched snippets of it. I did not watch it
Okay,
all the way through because I was at work.
sure. Adam Bankhurst. So Nintendo dropped a pretty big Direct, and they had a good number of hits. We're not going to go through everything because I think there is a couple of games that really stood out versus the
Yeah.
batch. Um, the first game I want to talk about is Mario and Luigi Brothership. You saw this one, right? Because I think this was the first thing they showed.
No, actually.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
Mm-mm.
So this is part of the Mario and Luigi line of games.
Yeah, their franchise.
Yeah. It looks cool to me just because it seems like it's a co-op experience that like me
Mhm.
and Shreen can play together kind of thing. Um I Mario just in general, I don't have too much of a
I
history with.
I feel
So
like I did play the last game now that I think about it,
Mario
but
and
go
Luigi
ahead.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it just looks cool and I definitely like the art style that they're showing off where it kind of feels like a little anime-ish in terms
Mhm.
of how they look, but it works well. It kind of surprised me. Um is there a game that stood
That
out to
stood out.
you? Yeah. We're
Um,
gonna talk about the Zelda and Metroid, but beyond that,
well, pretty much that I wanna say. Let me look through it again. Donkey
yeah.
Kong, maybe. I don't know if I'd get that. Nope. I don't really play Among Us like that anymore. No, I think
Mm,
it was just Legend of Zelda. Oh, I'll get Lego Horizon on PlayStation. Already played straight.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
nah, I might. I'd like to try Metroid because it looks cool, but I didn't play the first trilogy, so it's like, eh, I'd be missing
Yeah,
out.
we'll talk about that because I'm sort of in
Yeah.
the same boat as you. But yeah, we could talk about the uh Legend of Zelda.
Hmm.
Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. So this was a cool trailer in that I was surprised by this. I think as far as I know, no one. I think there's one leaker that actually called this or something,
Yeah.
but generally, no one really saw this coming. And the whole idea behind this is that you don't have a sword and shield like Link, like you're playing as Zelda, and Zelda, has magic, and that's her thing. So in this game, you actually copy stuff and use that to solve puzzles, use that to, I guess, defeat enemies. And I think that is such a cool idea. My big hope is that it follows the same like way of exploration, way of solving
Hmm.
problems that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdoms did.
Nope. Nope.
Mainly,
Nope. I highly
no.
doubt that it will. I highly doubt that it
Well, I
will.
mean, in the spirit of like I don't know, tree. You can solve problems with the tree in like interesting ways other than tree is big, tree block things kind of thing, you know? Because like I think in the
This
trailer,
just looks like a typical Zelda game, but without straight uh combat. This more so looks like her just stacking shit to get to things because I guess they can't jump very high.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. I think the thing that I'm asking for is that it is not as straightforward as that. Like it allows you to if you can think of a cool idea of like solving a
Mhm.
problem within this world, it's flexible enough to allow you to like at least try that, and if it works kind of thing. Because like one of the things they showed is that no, they're not. It's not here. Like she had copied a bed and she was
Mhm.
stacking the beds to like kind of travel up over something. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
that's a cool idea. I just hope that that's not the limit to things that you can do in this game, that it like expands and it's a bigger thing. But yeah, we will actually see about that pretty soon because that drops September 26th. So that I'm gonna get that. I think I'm gonna get that after I beat Astrobot, which is a pretty cool time, I'm hoping. Um and then I guess the other game. Are you a Mario Party person?
So I grew up a lonely child. I didn't have anybody to play Mario Party with. No, so I got the last whatever the first Mario Party was to come out on the Switch. So I played that with
Mhm.
my wife, but I mean,
Okay.
you know, she didn't grow up playing games, so kind of steamrolled her a lot. So I didn't have a proper Mario Party experience like most would, but I mean, they're okay. I don't think I'd get this though. Maybe
Yeah,
when my
I
kids get older, they could try to play.
right. Yeah, I fucking hate Mario Party. I fucking
Oh
hate Mario
gosh.
Party. Yeah, like, and it's not even like, oh, I hate the things that I'm doing on here. I just for as long as I've been playing games,
Mhm.
Mario Party just never clicked for me. Like, I do the absolute worst playing Mario Party games. And it doesn't matter what it is. It don't matter, hey man, just click this one thing. For some reason, I just can't click the thing. Like, hey man, just dodge these things. I'm hitting every last goddamn balloon in that game. Like, I have the worst luck when it comes to Mario Party and their games. And it's just
If it's
this
not a Gundam, you suck at it. It's okay.
or if it's a person or if it like throw a punch, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. Like, I don't know. But this looks fun. It has like a 20 player mode attached to it. Like, there's a lot
Hmm.
of stuff that looks cool on it, but I'm not gonna be the one experiencing any of that stuff because I don't feel like being upset at Mario again. Okay, so yeah, that's that. The last game that we pretty much want to talk about is Mario or Metroid Prime 4 because this was the trailer that everyone was wondering, are they going to show here? Are they going to show it next year? Is it coming out this year? Is it coming out next year? Is it going to be a Switch 1 game? Or is it going to be a Switch 2 game? There's a bunch of questions for this. And they pretty much showed a trailer for it, gave a year, and left it at that.
Mm.
So yes, and I will say, like, this trailer looks really, really cool. And the one thing about Nintendo and how they show their games is that they don't they don't they don't bullshit around. They'll if this is going to be a Switch 2 game, they will say this is a Switch 2 game. If it's going to be a Switch game, they
Yeah.
will they'll basically say this is a Switch 1 game. And they didn't
I
do
wouldn't
the
be
thing of
surprised if they just release it on both. And you'll
yeah,
have
yeah.
higher performance and graphical fidelity.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. Like, this is going to be the a bridge game, just like Breath of the Wild was a bridge game where it released on both.
Or
So
shit, what was the other game that released on Wii and
I don't know.
Twilight?
Breath of the Wild is the only game that I think.
No, Twilight something.
Oh, another Zelda.
Yeah, they've
Another
done it
Zelda game.
before.
Oh, okay,
Twilight Princess.
okay. So yeah, but yeah, like people, I think even Digital Foundry like dug into the trailer and essentially determined that like this is actually running on a Switch. The the actual like wall textures
Mm.
are the same quality that you would see like in the Metroid Prime remake. Yeah, so it's running off of that engine. So this is down to the bits as Switch 1 game and it's like if
Unless they just show the Switch One version and they're
oh, yeah,
keeping
exactly. It's
the
that
two
like this
portion
is
tuck.
going
Yeah.
yeah, no, this is just going to be released on the Switch 1 and then
Mm-hmm.
most likely released on Switch 2 with, you know,
Because
the
I
the
see them
entire
not wanting to bait and switch people,
exactly.
and they'll show the enhanced version at a later date and time.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's exactly what they're doing here. And I think that's awesome. Like if you're able to play this on a Switch 1 comfortably and have a
Hmm.
great experience, like props to Nintendo just working every last pixel out of the like Switch 1. Yeah, because they're absolute wizards at that. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're gonna talk about for Nintendo Direct. There was a bunch of other games, just like Dragon Quest 3, HD, 2D
Yeah, there
remake
wasn't a whole lot
stuff.
that excited me other than Zelda.
Me either. Me either.
They had Donkey Kong, cool, Dragon Quest, like you said, Ace Attorney,
Yeah.
Investigations. I guess that's a collection. The World Championship NES Edition. Yeah, nah,
But
nah.
there was one thing that was brought up that no one saw coming that
What's that?
literally blew the back out of all fighting game fans, which was
Wow,
the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection.
blew
The
the
arcade
vacuum.
classic is bringing 7 beloved games to Switch. The 7 games are X-Men, what the hell is that? Child of the Atom, Marvel superheroes, X-Men vs Street Fighter, which is one of my beloved like favorite fighting games. Marvel versus Street Fighter, Marvel versus Capcom, Marvel versus Capcom 2, and the Punisher, which is like, okay, cool. 6 out of the 7 games are fighting games. The Punisher is like a side scroller beat 'em up. So fine. The big thing about this is that it is coming to Switch. It's coming to PlayStation. It's not coming to Xbox. And everyone was just like, what the hell? Why is it not coming to Xbox? So that became like a whole big thing. And there was, people were asking Capcom, and essentially the answer is for technical reasons. Um, the I actually is there do I def put a
Something
story
about
on
the
it?
MT architecture or MT coding base, something.
Yeah, I was seeing if I didn't put a story on this. Okay, so yeah, as Sean said, the MT framework is
There you go.
yeah, it's essentially old at Capcom, and they have to invest money into updating it to get it to run or to port games to the Microsoft Series S and X. So they are essentially looking at the numbers and determining to spend that money to get that going and then actually port the game over to Xbox is just not worth it in terms of how much money they would probably think they'd get back from that as a return. And it's like
Hmm.
that kind of makes sense. A lot of the fighting games are either on PlayStation or on PC. So, and then on top of that, like PlayStation bought Evo, so that you know does that kind of bottlenecks people into either jumping into PlayStation or PC. So it makes sense that they're not doing it. It sucks though. It really sucks because you know, these games are so old that those gamers grew up and either has Xbox or PlayStation or PC. So,
Yeah.
the Xbox people are missing out. And it sucks, but it seems like that's the reason why it's not coming to PlayStation or coming to Xbox. Number 6. Sony no longer cares about PSVR 2, and neither should you. This comes to us from Android Central by way of it's this one that's loading. Wonderful. By way of Nicholas Sertrich?
It's Tutrich. Yeah.
Sertrich? Yeah. So, as the title suggests, PlayStation is sort of winding down on the PSVR 2 development. Sources close to Android Central has revealed that Sony is making deep cuts to funding VR games. While I'll paraphrase for anonymity, my source was told that there will be very few opportunities for VR game development at Sony going forward. To back that up, another source informed me that only 2 PSVR 2 games are in development at Sony. Given the state of the game industry that with constant layoffs and studio closings, I don't exactly feel confident that even these games will ever see the light of day if Sony continues its current trajectory. So, yes, PlayStation is pretty much wind down on PSVR.
Eh,
They closed down PlayStation London Studios, which was making I think Blood and Truth 2, which was a primary VR title, like one
yeah.
of the big VR titles. Astrobot is not having VR, and that was like the big PlayStation VR title. As it is right now, the tentpole VR game, Half-Life Alex, is not coming to PlayStation VR. Like
Well, I
it,
mean, I don't think they're gonna port much of anything to PSVR when you can now use your VR headset on the computer
yeah,
because they
yeah,
come
yeah.
out
But
like a dongle. Yeah.
I think that that whole like porting to PC is
Hmm.
a way of like just giving over that console to the PC crowd to like, hey man, figure this out. Like that that adapter pretty much blocks off a lot of the unique features to the PSVR.
Yeah.
So it just works as like a bog standard VR device. But yeah,
Um, I,
it's just
I would
go ahead.
see this as them not forcing devs to make something that they're not passionate about. Because you see what happens when you do shit like that. Look at Redfall. Like
Oh, true.
If they don't have, I mean, they're providing the hardware, and really and truly, they don't have to come out with first party VR games. They just provided the tools for devs who are passionate to do something like that. So
Yeah,
if they're
yeah. I
not,
mean,
if they feel like they're not seeing the returns that they wish, it's not like they're just completely killing the platform. You know what I mean? And like just bricking everything.
yeah. You're right. They're not killing the platform, but I don't think they are. I think they're. I don't think they're going to support the platform in
Hmm.
terms of like, well, for sure, we're definitely not going to get any more first party games coming out from PlayStation for PSVR 2. Like if we see PSVR 2 games, it's either going to be ports or indie devs really heading that development. And it's like, yeah, it kind of it sucks in terms of there is not that much money to
Hmm.
cut off and put into the development knowing that it's not going to make that same return, and it's like that sucks.
Yeah. I think it would have just been nice if they like ported Dreams over to PSVR 2 or something, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Like it's such a weird thing that like Dreams would have been the one game that would flourish in VR, especially that like their whole development thing in Dreams works
Yeah.
for
In
VR.
VR. Yeah.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
but I wonder if that is a VR1 to VR2 hassle that either they didn't have enough money to put into, do that or whatever. But yeah, it's just it sucks. Like all this sucks. It's just another piece of hardware that Sony essentially pushed to PlayStation. PlayStation did what it could, but then at the end of the day, just didn't have enough money or wasn't making enough
Hmm.
returns to really propagate it or push it forward. Um. So yes, number 7 is a very interesting one. Some AA and indie dev says it's not worth putting games on Xbox without Game Pass deal. This comes to us from Respawn First, which I think this is the first time we have pulled news from Respawn First,
Yeah.
by way of Jake Bishop. So, according to a Skill Up's discussion with about a dozen AA and indie developers, the consensus point the consensus point to a stark reality. The Xbox ecosystem, heavily influenced by Game Pass, has cultivated a consumer base that expects wide-ranging access as part of their subscription. This expectation reduces the likelihood of games succeeding financially without the support of being featured in the Game Pass category or catalog.
I can
So,
see that.
yeah, it's one of those things where you've built your brand on a deal. So if you're
Hmm.
not getting that deal, you're not quote unquote winning. So you kind of stick to the deal. So
So
it's like, go ahead.
I would look at it like this. Indie devs and quote unquote double A studios don't have the marketing dollars that the bigger studios have. So they wouldn't have as much exposure if they were just selling the game on its own versus being featured on that Game Pass
Mhm.
game list. Like I guess they're getting a lump sum of money equivalent to whatever they assume it might sell.
Yeah.
And that way you have guaranteed money versus throwing it out there and just hoping that somebody picks it up and becomes like a smash hit like a Balatro or a Hades or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, like also like you said, if people are only they're being conditioned to just play stuff on Game Pass, why would you spend money? They're not conditioned to spend money at this point. Spend
Yeah.
additional money outside of their subscription unless you're getting like microtransactions.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. It's that if the game is not on a Game Pass now, then I could just wait because eventually it's going to be on Game Pass because all of my games are on Game Pass. So that's the expectation. And it like it's funny because this goes back to 85,000 conversations that we had in the past with me, you, Avery,
Mhm.
uh, specifically you and Avery. I kind of just jumped on the bandwagon too, but specifically you and Avery talking about how Game Pass devalues games in that
Mhm.
Game Pass will condition the consumer to be like, no, I'm not going to spend $70 on this game because I have the subscription. And I believe that in the future, the $70 game is going to be on my subscription that I can just
Yeah.
get. I'll just wait. And then when people wait, the games don't do well. And then developers like, okay, we're not going to do this on
That
Xbox.
also might be an argument why bigger games like Black Myth Wukong don't want to appear on Xbox because they probably don't want to put it on Game Pass, and they probably see their sales being lower than what they could be because why play this
Yeah.
game? I mean, unless it just gets like fucking bonkers reviews. They have a lot of heat coming out within the next 6 months,
Yep.
and you know
Yep.
why ignore these free games? Like what's coming out? Avowed is coming out soon.
Yeah. Avowed, Indiana Jones, Doom, but that's multi-platform. Is Doom on Game
And I
Pass?
feel Doom will be on Game Pass, but I feel like they have similar games to Black Myth Wukong that appeared at that Xbox showcase. So
Yes.
we'll see how it goes. I don't remember the name of it. You don't have to try to remember the name of it, but
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the things where like I in our one of our Discord chats I have made the prediction that like the next Xbox system is going to focus less on Game Pass, and
we'll
it
see.
seems like such a harsh like prediction in terms of what they are pushing forward now, like how Phil talks about Game Pass, but like if you just take these stories and you just extrapolate them further, it's like Game Pass is just not going to be as valuable for Xbox for Microsoft
Mhm.
in that like from like all the rumors, all the talks, like Game Pass, the model is not growing. The hope is that Xbox or the hope is that Call of Duty pushes those numbers. But like even Call of Duty is in a weird place where that like they've already made a deal where they have to keep the PlayStation version and Xbox version pretty equal for at least 10 years or whatever because the FCC and stuff said like that's what you got to do. So I don't I know it's going to push Game Pass it's going to increase Game Pass by a little bit, but I don't think
Mhm.
it's going to be enough. Like it'll be really interesting to see if Xbox actually puts out Game Pass numbers after Call of Duty launches. Because if it does, then it's like okay, it made a dent. But if it doesn't, then it's just like, all right, guys, like this is not great now. But yeah, it's one of the things where it's like you you have some AAA people, some AAA devs putting their games on Game Pass. You have some AA people putting their games on Game Pass, but then you have this whole other side that's just like, no, we just don't see a point of doing that, and it's going to be which side does more devs fall on when it comes to that platform, and it is right now we don't really know. It kind of feels like there might be more people on outside of Game Pass than inside of Game Pass, or I guess more devs outside of Game Pass than inside Game Pass. But I don't know. It's just it's a hard problem.
We'll see these numbers eventually.
Yeah, it's a hard problem for Phil Spencer to solve, but I just hope he has enough coffee to deal with this because I could not. um. So, number 8. Speaking of Avowed, Avowed confirmed by Obsidian to be very short for an RPG. This comes to us from WCCF Tech. So, by way of Alicio Palumbo. So this is interesting. Avowed has pretty much not been in a great place preview wise since it first shown.
Mhm.
And I don't know if them coming out saying like, "Oh, this is going to be a shorter RPG. This is going to be similar length of the Outer Worlds," which I think when that came out, it was sort of dinged for being kind of short. So, just from the Outer Worlds, the Outer Worlds, on the other hand, is one of the shortest high-profile RPGs around. The main story can be completed in just over 13 hours, while side content doubles the amount to around 26 hours. For comparison, other non-open world RPGs like The Witcher 2 and Dragon Age 2 requires about 24 and 37 hours to complete, respectively. With the Outer Worlds, Obsidian had the excuse of a short string budget or shoestring budget, having picked Take Two's indie label Private Division as their publisher. So
I don't want them to pad a game just because they have backing by Microsoft. Make a short, sweet game that respects people's times versus having everything labeled an RPG having to be 30, 40, 100 hours of bullshit. They shouldn't change the scope of the game because we don't know how long was Avowed in development for, you think?
a long time like that. I think I think the problem with this is that, like, I agree with what you're saying in terms of don't pad a game out, but I
Mhm.
think the problem with this in terms of the type of RPG this is, the type of player who wants to play this RPG, I think they
They're
want
gonna
a
want more
longer
content from it.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible that there could be like they could I don't know, if they can treat it as live service, but like they can add more content going, forward. But
Or it may just be quite possible that the main meat and bone story is under 20 hours and then you have a whole bunch of side shit to do if you want.
yeah.
Like what the hell is that? Skyrim?
Well, yeah, Skyrim is
I'm just
well,
guessing. I
I
don't know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'd probably say Skyrim. I could be so wrong. It's been such a long time since I played Skyrim. I think Skyrim, the main story stuff is like maybe 30 hours. But if you do
Mm.
everything, it's like 80 hours kind of thing. Because there's a lot of stuff to do in Skyrim. But it is a thing of I and this I think this is a problem in terms
Mhm.
of Xbox just being in such a unwinnable position right now in terms of, they had Hellblade 2 drop, and that was, one of the best looking games of our generation, but it was like 8 hours long.
And not much of
And
a game.
yeah, and I don't see anybody talking about that game right now. And it's just like, will it be at the Game Awards? Maybe for graphics. I don't think it's going to be there for story. I don't think it's definitely not going to. It didn't have the same impact that Hellblade One had. So now we have Avowed coming out that is supposed to be that fantasy RPG that people are wanting to play, but they're just not. I don't. I
Ah,
don't think this is good news for the people who care about Avowed. I think this is good news for, you know, us in terms of, oh, that's cool. It's not going to be like a super
ridiculous.
long
Yeah.
RPG to play. But I think those people who are hungry for this are not going to be happy that this is going to be a very short experience. And then we have Indiana Jones, which is like, I don't know, that's kind of a crapshoot. Um, so yeah, so that's where we are with Avowed. Hopefully the game is great. Like that's yeah. So number 9, Zenless Zone Zero Studio uses AI technology to smoothen the development process. So there's not too much to be had here other than, oh, this comes to us from Eurogamer by way of Jessica Orr. That's a cool last name. So essentially, they are just confirming that the AI that they're using for this game is not replacing people. The AI is just helping the development process be smoothed out, which is fine because I think there was a article that happened a couple weeks ago about someone thinking that there was AI being used to create like artwork and stuff in the game,
Yeah.
and they said that that's not happening. And now they're just kind of reinstating that this is actually just the AI is being used for non-creative stuff. Cool, cool. Dun Zero comes out in about 2 weeks. We'll have a lot more on that once it comes out. We can actually play the game and talk
That
about it.
and the first Descendant.
Yes, yes. So the rest of the news is pretty much quick stuff. The quick hits. Number 10, Microsoft says Xbox is going big at Gamescom 2024, while Sony and Nintendo are skipping the show. This comes to us from IGN by way of. Let it load. No, wait. I got a good old advertisement. Wesley,
Wesley.
Jesus. Yes, man, these ads are just killing me right now. So basically, Xbox has confirmed that they will be showing Age of Mythologies Retold, Avowed, History Untold, Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred, Diablo Immortals, which I think is the mobile game, Elder
Yeah.
Scrolls Online, Fallout 76, Towerborn, World of Warcraft, The War Within. So all these games are going to be shown at Gamescom. If you are interested in them,
A
they'll
majority
be
of
there.
those are ongoing games. I don't know if you want to call them live service, but
Yes, you're right. And for some strange reason, no Indiana Jones. The hope is that people will be getting hands-on on these games, especially Avowed, because I think that one is probably the biggest. It was definitely one of the newest games on this list, not the biggest for sure. So yeah, we'll see. And then Sony said they're skipping it, but Sony has skipped Gamescoms for the last like 5 years or so.
yeah, it's not.
Yeah, it's not anything news yet. And then Nintendo is skipping it as well, but we think they're skipping it because they're gonna probably do something. Yeah. Or they could just be skipping it because they just feel like skipping it. Yeah, because they were there last year. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. They just probably want to make it a quieter fall for them. Yeah, so that's that. Gamescom is August 20. When is Gamescom? August 20. I am scrolling down this trying to find
22nd.
22nd. Nailed it. Good job.
I was right.
Oh, I don't know. I thought you were right. It's in the 20s something. Hey, look, man. We're trying our best, guys. What? Life is hard. Whatever I said in the beginning. All right, number 11. Crash Insane Trilogy sales jump to 20 million copies. This comes to us from Game Developer. Yeah, at this point, the Insane Trilogy may be the best-selling Crash game across the character's almost 30 years history. This is penned by Justin Carter. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Like that's an
You got a copy?
insane number. No, I don't have a copy.
I got a copy.
I'm sorry. See, look, you're one of the 20 million. Awesome,
Mhm.
awesome. So yeah, so more power to them. The question is, then what's the next Toys for Bob game? This article, for the fact that Crash is selling so well, would probably suggest it'd be a Crash game. But I think the rumors are it's going to be a Spiral game. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I hate how it just changed hands because
Yeah.
that was a
Yeah.
Naughty Dog and Sony thing. Now it's done. Unfortunate.
Yeah, good old Activision. Gotta love it. Number 12, Hollow Knight Silksong is not in dev hell, says tester who finds fan cynicism disheartening, but agrees developer Team Cherry should be better at communicating. This comes for us from GamesRadar.net GamesRadar by way of Austin Wood. And that's pretty much it to be said. Like there's a game tester came out and said that the game's not in development hell. It plays well. The Team Cherry is just not communicating properly right now. Will we see it this year? I don't know. Will it show up at Gamescom? I don't know. Man. I hope this game comes out this year because it is on my Fantasy Critic League, and I want another winner. Sean. And then, last up for news, Sony shuts down its reward program. Here are the deadlines for submitting claims. So yeah, Sony's shutting down it. Oh, this comes from some GameSpot by way of George Yang. So yeah, Sony shutting down their awards program. you have until December 31st, the end of the year, to um, get all your rewards out. I guess I don't know. Are you part of this reward program?
No.
Okay,
I probably was
I'm
at
not.
some. You know what? I should check.
Yeah, right. I was saying,
I should check.
Shot is part of all programs at all times. Yeah, I actually, I think I did sign up for this, but I never used it. Like, there's like a credit
Hmm.
card that you can get. That's a PlayStation credit card or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think if I was a member of this, it was a very shallow
Long time ago.
membership. Yeah.
Oh, apparently
Actually,
I
the
have
last
403 points. I wonder what I can get.
you better hurry up and use it.
Hilarious.
Oh man, yes, but the actual last news story is number 14. Bandai Namco confirms summer showcase stuffed with announcements and reveals. This comes to us from Push Square by way of Robert Ramsey. Good strong name right there, Ramsey. So yes, the showcase is happening July 5th. So if you are interested in Bandai Namco games, probably won't be Elden Ring content there because they just released Shadow Erdtree and they're pretty much good there. Yeah, so catch that. Catch that. Yeah. So that's been a jam-packed news section. Um so I will just quickly do the what we've been playing section and talk about my this Far Cry thing that happened. So actually yesterday, as of time of recording this, my wife took me to a VR experience where we did a Far Cry like
Mm.
uh lack of better words, like shoot the target game. It was pretty
Yeah.
cool. It was based off Far Cry 3, so it was Voss as the main antagonist, and he did that line about insanity in terms of doing the same thing over and over again. Whatever that line, you know the line. I don't remember the line. I was too busy shooting things.
Hmm?
The actual experience is really fun. The main reason why I bring this up is just to comment on the fact that Ubisoft is everywhere. Like
Mm.
there was there was like 4 games to pick from. There was like a robot game, there was a Outbreak Zombies game, there was like a puzzle solving game, and then there was
Yeah.
this Far Cry experience. And it's just like the I didn't expect for there to be like we saw Far Cry in this VR thing, but it's just like, hey man, like that's how you keep that brand like running by just putting it everywhere in just random places.
I wonder how long before they put Far Cry out the pasture.
That's a great question. That's a very good question. Like if they're doing stuff like this, like they are definitely, and it's funny that I actually don't know how old the game was in terms of when they
The VR.
started it. Yeah,
Specifically.
because like they did Far Cry 3, which like right now we're at 5, going on 6, I think, or something like that.
We've done six
So
there. Seven is about to come out.
you're right, you're right, you're right. You can tell I'm a Far Cry fan. But yeah, it is a thing of just like I think they just picked their most favorite character and they're using that to like push forward with Far Cry. But yeah, overall, I think the game itself was fun. It's a VR thing. It was me, Shireen, and like
Hmm.
5 other random people, 6 other random people, and
So
I
apparently the VR game came out in 2021, but go ahead.
okay. Oh, okay, okay. So that's not that far. That's not that long ago.
Fairly new enough.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I did the best on my team. I had to represent for the Press X people. I didn't scream Press X because we were all mic'd up. There was a point where like we were there. I had this grandma on my team. Props to her for even playing the game, but man, she was having problems. There was a part where we had to walk to a space and like wait for the next thing to load, and like she just didn't know what was happening, and she ended up walking from her team. She walked over to our space. And I guess the game was flexible enough to just adjust to that. And it was just like, all right, it just went forward. It was like, oh, I guess we got to do teammate now. it,
That's
was
funny.
just it was hilarious. It was a good time, though. We're going to have to do that. We have to do the Outbreak one because the Outbreak one, they will, after you do it, they will send a video of the game of like us playing it to our emails. So
Ah,
that'd be
okay.
cool for like press X content. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it. And then have you been playing anything?
No.
No. Okay. All right, guys. That has been it for Press X to Start Gamers Digest. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed making it. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Don't forget, if you're listening, please leave us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, whatever podcast service you're currently tuned in on. Don't forget to wash your hands because bugs are still out there and they're going to get you sick. They're going to get you sick. And don't forget, just have a good day. Be safe, take care, play some video games. All right, guys. Bye.
Alrighty.
Oi. Okay. I didn't realize the time. I gotta get going.
Where y'all going?
I have a massage.
Okay. 12:30. Oh, you gotta go. How far is it?
I gotta go. Like 2 hours.
It's 2 hours away?
No. Oh,